In the quantum realm, reality is far stranger than it appears, because at the most fundamental level, the universe does not behave like the solid, predictable world we think we live in. Quantum mechanics reveals that particles can exist in multiple states at once, governed not by certainty but by probability, as if the universe itself is constantly rolling cosmic dice. One of the most unsettling ideas is the observer effect, where simply observing a particle appears to change its behavior, raising the question of whether reality exists independently of consciousness or only becomes real when it is measured. Add to this the possibility of multiple universes where every quantum choice creates a branching reality, and suddenly the world you experience may be just one version among countless others. When these ideas are combined, they create an eerie feeling that our universe is less like a fixed structure and more like a dynamic system, constantly updating itself in response to information. This leads to a provocative thought. If reality is built on probabilities, observation, and hidden dimensions, then could our world function like a vast simulation, governed by underlying rules we barely understand? Perhaps what we call reality is not an absolute truth, but a carefully rendered experience within a deeper quantum framework, waiting for us to awaken to how unreal it truly is. As we go deeper, the line between physics and philosophy begins to dissolve, because quantum theory does not merely describe particles, it challenges the very nature of existence. At the smallest scales, space and time lose their familiar meaning, and reality behaves more like a field of information than a collection of physical objects. Particles appear and disappear from nothingness, entangled across vast distances, communicating instantly in ways that defy classical logic, as if the universe operates on a hidden network beyond space itself. This strange behavior suggests that what we perceive as solid matter is actually an illusion created by underlying quantum processes, vibrating probabilities collapsing into form only when observed. If consciousness plays a role in shaping outcomes, then the universe may not be a passive machine, but an interactive system responding to awareness. Some scientists and philosophers now wonder whether reality is less like a fixed world and more like a constantly rendered experience, similar to how a simulation generates environments only when needed. In this view, space-time becomes a kind of interface, masking a deeper quantum code that determines everything we see, feel, and believe to be real. And if that is true, then understanding quantum mechanics may not just explain the universe, but reveal our place inside a reality far more mysterious, flexible, and unreal than we ever imagined. Continuing this journey, the implications become even more unsettling, because if reality emerges from quantum information, then the universe may resemble a vast computational process rather than a purely physical place. Some theories suggest that the fundamental units of existence are not particles, but bits of information, constantly processed by the fabric of the cosmos itself. Entropy, time, and even causality may arise from how this information flows, giving us the sensation of past, present, and future, while beneath the surface everything exists simultaneously. This perspective forces us to question free will, identity, and the nature of self, because if reality is probabilistic, then every decision you make may already exist as a spectrum of possible outcomes. Consciousness, in this sense, could be the lens that selects one path from an infinite quantum landscape, collapsing possibility into experience. The more we uncover, the more it feels as though we are participants inside a grand experiment, observing and shaping the universe at the same time. Perhaps reality is not something we inhabit, but something we continuously co-create moment by moment through observation, choice, and awareness. And as quantum science pushes further into the unknown, one haunting question remains. If reality is being computed, observed, and rendered at every instant, then who or what is running the system behind the curtain? And that question leads us into the most profound mystery of all, because once we begin to suspect that reality has an underlying structure, we naturally wonder whether that structure is intentional or emergent. Some researchers speculate that the laws of physics themselves may be optimized, as if fine-tuned for complexity, consciousness, and observation, much like the parameters of a carefully designed system. The universe appears not only mathematically elegant, but strangely efficient, compressing vast amounts of information into simple equations, as though it were written in a universal language. From this angle, life and consciousness may not be accidental byproducts, but essential features of reality required to complete the loop between information and experience. Without observers, the quantum world remains a haze of probabilities, but with observation, it crystallizes into events, histories, and meaning. This suggests that awareness may be woven into the fabric of the cosmos itself, not as a passive witness, but as an active participant. If so, then each conscious moment becomes a point where the universe looks at itself, briefly becoming real through perception. And perhaps the ultimate secret of the quantum realm is not that reality is fake, but that it is unfinished, waiting for consciousness to give it form, direction, and purpose within an ever-unfolding cosmic mystery. As this idea unfolds, the concept of reality transforms from something fixed into something fluid, almost alive, because the universe may be less like a finished structure and more like an ongoing process. Every moment you experience could be the result of countless quantum interactions resolving themselves just long enough to form a coherent world in your awareness. What you see as objects, people, and events may simply be stable patterns emerging from an underlying sea of probabilities, held together by consistent rules, yet never truly solid. Even time itself may be an illusion created by how consciousness processes change, giving us the sense of motion and continuity while, at a deeper level, all moments coexist. This perspective suggests that the past is not gone and the future is not unreal, but both exist as potential states within a larger quantum framework, waiting to be accessed through observation. When you consider this, everyday life begins to feel less ordinary because each thought, each choice, and each act of attention may subtly influence which version of reality becomes experienced next. The universe, in this sense, is not happening to you, but happening with you, responding to the way information is observed and interpreted. And if reality truly operates this way, then the greatest frontier of science may not be outer space or distant galaxies, but consciousness itself, the mysterious interface through which the quantum world becomes real, meaningful, and visible.